Spoilers for Persona 5 Royal. I know the game has been out for like forever, but the game just recently released on Xbox, Switch, and PC, so it's entirely possible people haven't gotten a chance to play this game yet. I highly recommend you play this game before you watch this video, but, you might be gone for a while. Anyway, on to the video. We did it! After months and months of lying in wait, we finally did it! Did what, you may be asking? We, and by we I mean I, come on, I make these videos on my own, finally made 2 back-to-back videos that aren't FNF related. Right, because that is worth celebrating. It's also the first time in over a year that I've made a ranked video. Hell, it's been 2 years since the last non-FNF ranked video. But like, can you blame me? But today, and by today I mean several days ago, I am very lazy, I will end that long streak of inactivity from that playlist. I'm going to take a look at one of my favorite video games of all time, Persona 5 Royal. Coincidentally, Persona 3 and 4 just released on all modern platforms and PC. I'm not sponsored by Atlas, but I figured I should mention it. I should also mention that I am ranking the Showtime Attacks from Persona 5 Royal. These attacks are special moves that characters can perform when certain conditions are met. These are ranging from Joker or the enemy being low on health, or an ally recovering from being knocked down. There's more than that, but those are the 3 that are most likely to occur, so I'm sure you've run into one of these Showtime Attacks at least once. There are 8 total Showtimes, each character getting 2, except for Akechi and Sumeria, they only get 1. So most character gets a good amount of time to shine, and we all know there's somebody who could use it. Now with all the formalities out of the way, let's rank the Showtimes.
That's our cue!
Number 8, Mona Noir, Drive Hard. With a clever reference to Die Hard in the title, this Showtime is kinda lame. Most of these Showtime attacks will kind of play into a characteristic or personality of the characters that are in the Showtime, and this one just kinda doesn't do that. You could make a case that Mona turns into a car, but like, he does that all the time, and turning into a car isn't a personality trait. I think it's cool how Noir just kinda shoots 3 rockets at the enemy, but other than that, there really is nothing to this attack. When it comes to just about anything ever, a lot of people prefer style over substance. The problem with the Showtime is that it has neither. Again, I like the part where Noir shoots 3 rockets at the enemy, but other than that, there really isn't much to this attack. I can safely say this is the only Showtime attack that I have a lot of gripes with. The rest of them I like, just some of them more than others. Number 7, Panther and Mona, Gun with the Wind. With the title referencing Gone with the Wind, this Showtime attack is just kinda decent. This Showtime kinda plays into how Mona feels about Panther. If you played the game, you know what I mean. Panther pulls out a pair of guns from the flowers that Mona gives her, and they just kinda go to town. Mona eventually pulls out a bomb, blows up the enemy, and that's the end of the attack. Like I said before, the Showtime is just kinda decent. I'm not a huge fan of how one of Mona's big personality traits is just liking Panther. And I know I'm not the only person who feels this way, considering there's an entire subreddit dedicated to just romancing on so you can mock the cat. So you may be asking, why have this above Drive Hard if I don't like the concept of Mona being infatuated with Panther? This is only because it at least plays into a personality trait rather than not doing anything at all. It's also no coincidence that both Showtime attacks that have Mona are at the bottom of the list. What can I say? I hate this guy. I also like how if you finish a battle with that Showtime, Mona and Panther's portraits in the party menu will change to how they appear in the Showtime. I don't hate the Showtime attack, but as we'll later see, there are definitely much better ones to look at. Number 6, Queen of Noir, PTE Thwackdown. This takes the title reference of WWE SmackDown and pushes it to a whole nother level. Queen and Noir, arguably the 2 most brutal of the Phantom Thieves, just kinda go to town on the enemy. Queen even pulls out a steel chair and just bashes the enemy's head with it. They both then get up on the ropes and do what they call the double death blow. This double death blow will actually change depending on whether you're fighting a regular enemy or a boss. The enemy version of the double death blow is 2 incredibly strong elbow smashes coming from both Phantom Thieves. And the boss version is 2 incredibly powerful dive kicks. I should probably mention that all these Showtime attacks actually have different versions depending on if you're fighting a boss or an enemy. It just hasn't been worth mentioning until now because both Drive Hard and Gun with the Wind just end a little earlier than the enemy versions. I'm not entirely sure which one I like more because the enemy version ends with a really nice pose from both of them, but the boss version has that really sick pair of dive kicks. At the end of the day, it shouldn't really matter because they're both still the same attack, they just kinda end differently. But if for some reason you're highly opinionated about this topic, let me know down in the comments. Tell me your favorite Showtime attacks. Number 5. Fox and Panther, The Kabuki Kid. Despite the title referencing Karate Kid, this has nothing to do with karate at all. This Showtime leans into the statement that beauty is pain, and with all the thwacking and slicing that goes around, this Showtime is very beautiful and very painful. The backdrop also leans heavily into the Oriental Japanese style. I really like how this Showtime plays out, especially considering Fox is one of my favorite Phantom Thieves. It leans heavily into where the game not only was made, but also takes place, so you know, it makes sense. I don't really have a whole lot to say about the Showtime other than it's really cool. I also like how in the boss version it is just one clean horizontal slice. Overall, this is one of the more solid Showtimes, but like what I said before, there is definitely better, like with this next one.
It's showtime!
Number 4. Skull and Queen, Mad Moxie. With a title that references Mad Max, it's no wonder that this Showtime takes place in the desert. With a swift kick from Queen and a nice swing of the hammer from Skull, Queen goes full power and straight up JoJo's the enemy. It ends with Queen crushing a can of soda that Skull brings her and the enemy explodes. Overall, the Showtime is really cool, and I like how at the beginning Skull has a shot at saying Fist of the Phantom Star, a reference to Fist of the North Star. The boss version of this is also the most radically different boss version we've seen thus far. Rather than ending with Queen crushing a soda can, it ends with Queen punching the enemy and Skull running away as the dust flies up from behind him. All in all, the Showtime is really cool and I like how well it's played out. It plays into the genuine ferocity of Queen, while the artificial ferocity of Skull is just kind of there. I'm not saying Skull can't be angry, of course, he's one of my favorite Phantom Thieves, and he says fuck. But in the Showtime, he's just kind of playing it up and trying to be cool, especially with that reference to Fist of the North Star. This Showtime is non-stop action, and it benefits from that. This is the kind of style over substance that I wish Drive Hard played into. It has a simple background like Drive Hard, but unlike Drive Hard, it actually has a lot going on. There's even a wanted poster for Queen and Skull that you can see at the beginning of the attack. It's the little things that I wish Drive Hard leaned a little more into, but I'll stop talking about it so we can move on. Number 3. Skull and Fox, Inglorious Beef Bowls. Now, I initially didn't know what this title could be referencing, and after doing a simple Google search, I found this Quentin Tarantino movie called Inglourious Basterds. It's a 2009 war film about two plots to assassinate Nazi Germany's leadership. I did not think I would be talking about Nazi Germany in a Persona 5 video. I had my doubts, but even after typing in Inglorious Beef Bowls, I just got the IMDb page for Inglourious Basterds. And I highly doubt it's a reference to a bagel shop in California. Back to the Showtime, it features Fox making Skull a very nice looking beef bowl before being interrupted. Skull, not liking his mealtime being interrupted, completely lights up the enemy with the aid of Fox. Skull throws a grenade that I don't know how he got, and Fox shoots at the grenade, causing it to explode. This is a Showtime that, had it been any other pair of characters, I wouldn't like it as much. But with it being Skull and Fox, it's really well done, and adding to it, Max Middleman and Matt Mercer do a wonderful job portraying their characters. Max Middleman especially with
Get out, dumbass!
and
I'm trying to eat you!
and
Here you go, my treat!
and it all ties so well together. Like I said, had it been with any two other characters, I wouldn't like the Showtime as much as I do. Thankfully, this is done beautifully, and I almost couldn't ask for any better. But we still have 2 more Showtimes to look at.
Showtime!
Number 2. Joker and Violet, A Dance with Thieves. Now, I legit could not find what the Showtime could be referencing at all. It could be a book called Dance with Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, considering the book came out 5 years ago. But then I found this thing called A Dance with Rogues, and I thought maybe Atlas wouldn't want to be too on the nose with the reference, so they went with that instead. Problem is, it's an 18+ oriented D&D story, so I doubt that's the case. So it's entirely possible Atlas was very on the nose with this reference to the book by Mary E. Pearson. But I have a slight doubt that that's the case, and if you know what it is, or maybe I'm right, let me know down in the comments. On to the actual Showtime itself, it features Joker and Violet doing some pretty well done attacks. Joker swings up with his grapple gun and picks up Violet, and they start spinning around while Joker unloads his gun onto the enemy. Once Joker's done with that, he throws Violet up into the air, and it initiates my favorite part of the Showtime. We zoom into Violet's eye and we get a vision of her sister, Kasumi. Both Violet and her sister start dashing all around the screen, cutting into the enemy. It ends with glass shattering and the enemy being cut to pieces. And a nice little pose. This whole Showtime acts as a sort of acceptance for Violet. She's willing to accept who she is and step out from her sister's shadow. It signifies that Violet is no longer being dragged down by the passing of her sister. She even ends her flurry of attacks by saying,
This is...
signifying that she's ready to show the world who she is. One tiny gripe I have about the Showtime is that the boss version cuts off the pose that Joker and Violet do. It's not a big deal, but it kinda stinks that it gets cut off. But no matter how you spin it, this Showtime is beautiful, and it not only perfectly encapsulates who Violet is, but it perfectly wraps up her arc as a character.
Out of my way! Crawl! You little shit!
Number 1. Crow and Joker, Bladed Runners. With a title that references Blade Runner, this is my favorite Showtime attack. I absolutely love the performance that Robbie Daymond gives for Crow. His unhinged shouts of... and straight up calling the enemy a... This Showtime attack is pure, unfiltered insanity, and I love it. The attack starts with Akechi using Call of Chaos on himself, which if you remember from his boss fight is what he uses to make the enemies go insane. And blinded with rage, he just rushes to the enemy. Joker swings over to the enemy, does one clean strike, and Akechi starts going to town. It finally ends with one clean slice from Akechi while Joker jumps down and fires a single bullet at the enemy. This Showtime is the perfect encapsulation of two sides of the same coin. You can even see it written on the background. While Akechi is ruthless and unruly, Joker just has a single, coordinated, clean strike. It really shows off the fact that while both of these characters were screwed over by the same guy, they followed very different paths of life. And again, the performance from Robbie Daymond is unmatched. Again, this Showtime is just Akechi, and as he says himself, hey, glad you made it to the end of the video. If you want to see all the gameplay footage on its own without my voice, check the links in the description where you can find all the gameplay used in this video. I know it's been a really long time since my last ranked video, but I'm gonna be honest, I just kinda got really lazy. And if I'm gonna be honest, I think I got a little burnt out from making videos where I had to sit down and record stuff. It was a little over a year ago I sat down to write a script for a Hollow Knight video that still hasn't been finished. I just kinda got a little tired of making these type of videos, and mashups and covers were kinda the easiest way to make content consistently. And even consistently is a stretch. There were times where I wouldn't upload for several weeks. But I kinda want to get back into the swing of making top 10 videos and ranked videos and even some new gameplay videos. And I know this sounds like a lot of back-to-back excuses, but I do YouTube as a hobby, not as a job. And these videos aren't super hard to make, so that's why I don't really plan on making money off of this stuff. But with that out of the way, I want to again say thank you for watching to the end, and if you liked the video, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe, maybe let me know what to do next. And I'll see you all whenever I decide to upload and or live stream next.